Choosing a health plan or savings account that's right for you and your family, if you have one, can be quite confusing and more than a bit overwhelming. But it's one of the most important decisions you'll be making every year if you have employer-sponsored healthcare. Not only will it impact the amount of money that you pay now for healthcare, it can also significantly impact how much money you have to spend on healthcare as you get older or even in retirement. Retirement experts estimate that if you retire today in the US, you need about $1 to $1.5 million. And according to Fidelity Investments, an average retired couple age 65 in 2021 may need approximately $300,000 saved after tax to cover healthcare expenses in retirement. That's a lot of money. That's why we're here today to make choosing your next health plan and savings account a bit less overwhelming and a lot less confusing. By the end of this video, you'll know the difference between a health savings account, an HSA, and a flexible spending account, an FSA. You'll also know how to go about choosing between the two, as well as where health reimbursement arrangement, an HRA, fits into the entire equation. For our loyal subscribers of yours, welcome back. We love you guys. And for those of you new to Diamond NestEgg, welcome to the #1 place to learn about money, insurance, and retirement. I'm Jennifer, and I've spent most of my life in finance. Started working at banks like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs at the age of 17, and graduated top of my class from NYU and Harvard Business School. And now I work on all things personal finance with young professionals and employees at places like Bloomberg, WeWork, and Marsh McLennan. So flexible spending accounts, FSAs, and health savings accounts, HSAs. These are the two types of accounts offered most often by employers to encourage you to save for medical expenses that are not covered by your health plan. Because as most of us know, our health insurance doesn't cover everything, unfortunately. The tax and other benefits from FSAs and HSAs can be quite substantial if you use them wisely, and that's what we'll walk you through today. Both FSAs and HSAs can reduce the taxes you pay while helping you, your spouse, and your dependents save money on qualified medical expenses, including your deductibles, co-payments, co-insurance, and monthly prescription costs. In the vast majority of cases, you'll get an HSA or FSA debit card to cover these healthcare costs. With both FSAs and HSAs, you're the one putting the money into the account. Some employers do offer to match a portion of your HSA or FSA contributions, but this is not required. That's also where the similarities between an FSA and an HSA pretty much end. So what are the differences and pros and cons of an FSA and an HSA? Here's a chart addressing all of this, and that's what we're diving into now. And just for fun, I'm going to assign a point to the account that wins in every category. So it'll be pretty clear by the end of this video which account is the winner. So question 1, do you own your account? With an FSA, the answer is no, you don't own your account. You can only open an FSA with your employer, and your employer owns your FSA account. So if you were to leave your job or get fired, you would forfeit whatever money is in your FSA. Your employer would keep your FSA funds. Keep in mind that there are several types of FSA accounts. The one we'll be talking about here is the medical FSA, also known as a healthcare FSA. This can be used to cover medical, dental, vision, and other qualified medical expenses. Qualified medical expenses are defined by the IRS and can change at any time. The other types of commonly known FSAs are the limited or limited purpose FSA, which only covers out-of-pocket dental and vision expenses, and the dependent care FSA, which covers childcare, caregiver costs, and adult daycare for parents that work. So as I mentioned, your employer owns your FSA, whereas with your HSA, you own it. You can open your HSA with your employer, which is what many people do if the employer offers this benefit. Or you can open an HSA account with any external HSA provider. Your HSA and whatever money is in there belongs to you, not your employer, like with an FSA. And even if you opened your HSA through your employer And even if your employer matches some of your contributions into your HSA, which some do, the money in that HSA is yours forever, regardless of whether you leave your job or get fired. So that's 1 point for the HSA here and 0 points for the FSA. Question 2, which account has the higher contribution limit? The contribution limits are higher for HSAs. In 2021, that contribution limit is $3,600 if you're single and $7,200 if you have a family. For 2022, it's $3,650 if you're single and $7,300 if you have a family. For FSAs, the 2021 contribution limit is $2,750 if you're single and double that if you have a spouse. The IRS hasn't released numbers for 2022 yet as of this taping. And if you're 55 plus, you can contribute another $1,000 per year to your FSA or HSA as a catch-up. So that's 2 points for the HSA and 0 points for the FSA. Guys, if you're enjoying this video so far, do give that thumbs up and the subscribe diamond a gentle tap. This lets us know what videos to keep making in the future so that you can make the most of your financial journey with us. Question 3, can you roll over the money from this year to the next? FSAs are use it or lose it, which means you need to spend all of your FSA funds before the end of the year. So let's say that we're in December 2021 right now, and you have $200 left in your FSA. This means that if you don't spend that $200 in your FSA before January 1st, 2022, that money's gone. That's why all my FSA friends and clients have new eyeglasses at the end of the year, or contacts. They're trying to use up everything that's in their FSA. Seriously. Some companies will give you the alternative to roll over up to $550 for qualified expenses to the next year. In this case, your employer sets the annual rollover amount, so check with your HR or benefits department on whether this option is available to you. You should know that any funds you carry over do not factor into your annual contribution limit. This means that you can elect the maximum amount allowed under your plan and have additional funds you carry over from the previous plan year. Some employers also offer a grace period, generally about 2 months and 15 days, following the end of the plan year in December. Again, it's your employer who decides if you get a grace period and how long it lasts. During this grace period, you can use up your remaining FSA money from the previous year. Any funds not used during the grace period are gone forever. While that sounds great, it's even better with an HSA. With an HSA, your contributions are cumulative. They keep growing and rolling over every year unless you spend them down or stop contributing altogether. We're now at 3 points for the HSA and 0 points for the FSA. So you're probably wondering, is there anything positive about the FSA? Will the FSA ever get any points? Which leads us to question 4. Question 4, can you access your full year's contribution immediately? The FSA wins this one. One great advantage of an FSA is that your funds are immediately available the day you enroll. For example, if you decide on January 1st, 2022 to contribute the maximum amount of $2,750 annually, which means monthly pre-tax contributions of about $229. That's the $2,750 divided by 12 months. You would have access to the entire $2,750 at the beginning of the year. What this means is that if you have a qualified medical expense of $2,000 in January 2022, but your FSA account does not have all the funds to cover it, your FSA administrator would still have to pay the entire $2,000. With an HSA, you only have access to what is available at the time of withdrawal. So let's say you open up a brand new HSA for 2022 and you decide you want to max it out for 2022 with an annual contribution of $3,650. This translates into a monthly pre-tax contribution of roughly $304. This means that at the end of January 2022, you would only have access to $304 in your HSA because that's what you've put in. And at the end of February 2022, you would have access to only $608. Only at the very end of the year would you have access to the full year's contribution of $3,650? So the HSA loses out to the FSA on this one. We're now at 3 points for the HSA and 1 point for the FSA. Question 5, can you invest the money in the account? With an HSA, you can invest whatever money that's in there, as well as get the tax-free benefits from that investment growth that we're going to talk about next. You cannot invest the money in your FSA. So we're at 4 points now for the HSA and 1 point for the FSA. Question 6, which account is triple tax advantage? This one, the HSA wins hands down. With an FSA, your contribution is deducted from your paycheck before any payroll taxes are applied, which means, depending on your tax bracket, you could save on average about 30% on every dollar you contribute to the FSA. The exact amount of tax savings would be dependent on which tax bracket you're in. With an HSA, you won't believe this. It gets even better. You get even more tax benefits. An HSA is a triple tax advantage account because 1, you're not taxed when you put money into your HSA. 2, you're not taxed on the money that grows in your HSA. And 3, you're not taxed when you take money out to pay for qualified medical expenses both now and in the future. That's why we're huge HSA fans. You can check out our HSA video here to learn more about HSAs and why so many people are using them as their secret retirement tool, so that they can pay for healthcare costs in retirement with tax-free dollars instead of dipping into a 401k or IRA. So, 5 points for the HSA and still 1 point for the FSA. Moving on to question 7. Are there special health insurance requirements? Well, surprise, the FSA is getting another point here. With an HSA, you'll need to be enrolled in a high-deductible health plan, an HDHP, to qualify for an HSA. A high-deductible health plan, as the name probably indicates, is a health plan with a high deductible. The deductible is the amount you have to pay with your own money for covered healthcare services before your insurance starts paying. And because of the high deductible, HDHP premiums are typically less than with a traditional health plan. HDHPs are not for everyone. Check out this video here to see the 6 questions you need to ask yourself to determine if an HDHP might be the right choice for you. This video also explains the difference between an HDHP versus a traditional health plan like a PPO, a preferred provider organization, and the pros and cons of each. With an FSA, you don't have to have an HDHP. So right now, we're at 5 points for the HSA and 2 points for the FSA. So, should you go for an FSA, an HSA, or both? The HSA is a clear winner here. Given that you own the account, you can contribute more to an HSA than to an FSA. The funds in your HSA are yours forever until you use them up. You can invest the money in your HSA, and you can enjoy the triple tax advantages of the HSA. But having said that, an HSA may still not be what's right for you because, as I've mentioned, you need to be enrolled in a high deductible health plan. And perhaps a high deductible health plan is not what's best suited for your healthcare needs right now. For example, you have young children that go to the doctor like it's a toy shop, or if you have a chronic health condition. So the question to actually ask yourself is this: is an HDHP right for me? And if the answer to that is yes, then sign up for a high deductible health plan and open your HSA, either through your employer, if they offer this, or through an external HSA provider. If an HDHP is not the way to go for you, then you'll have to go with a different health insurance plan and an FSA if your employer offers it. If your company does not offer an FSA, then you're out of luck. You can't go elsewhere to open one up. You can only open an FSA if your employer makes it available to you. You should also know you cannot have a healthcare FSA, the type of FSA that we've been talking about throughout this video, and have an HSA at the same time. The government doesn't want you to have too many tax sheltered accounts. You can, however, have a limited purpose FSA that covers just dental and vision expenses and an HSA simultaneously. If this is something you're interested in, be sure to drop us a comment below and we'll work on a detailed video for this in the coming weeks. Now, how does an HRA, a health reimbursement arrangement, come into play with your FSA and HSA? Very briefly, an HRA, a health reimbursement arrangement, is also an employer-sponsored health benefit, like the FSA, that you can use to pay for qualified medical expenses. The two most important things to understand about an HRA are these. First, with an HRA, your employer sets all the rules. Your employer decides how much money will go into your HRA, so your employer makes the contributions into an HRA, not you. Your employer also decides what healthcare costs you can use it for and how much of your unused funds can be rolled over from one year to the next, if any. Check out this video over here to learn more about HRAs. The second thing to understand about an HRA is that you can't pull money out in advance to pay for your healthcare costs. Instead, what happens is that you pay for the medical expense first and then submit it to the HRA for reimbursement afterwards, up to a certain limit set by your employer. So, you can have both an HRA and an FSA. If your employer offers both, that's great. The smartest way to leverage these two accounts is to pay for qualified medical expenses with your FSA first, use it so you don't lose it, and then to use your HRA money to cover any additional qualifying healthcare costs. In most cases though, your employer will not allow this. Instead, most companies require that you use up all your HRA money first before dipping into your FSA, so the other way around. But again, check with your employer on this because it's your employer that sets the rules. If your employer doesn't require you to spend down your HRA allowance first, then use up your FSA funds first so they don't expire at the end of the year. Also, keep in mind that the same expense can't be reimbursed from both accounts. So that was the HRA FSA combo. You can also have both an HRA and an HSA under certain circumstances. The 4 HRA plan types that are compatible with an HSA are the limited purpose HRA, the post-deductible HRA, the retirement HRA, and the suspended HRA. Again, check with your HR or benefits department on this one, as the rules are fairly specific depending on which HSA HRA combo you have. Guys, personal finance, healthcare, retirement, all this stuff can get quite confusing. If you want to see if we can help make this a bit less overwhelming and give your financial journey a bigger boost than you'd be able to on your own, shoot us an email at jennifer@diamondnestegg.com. Everyone's financial journey is different. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. So, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you did, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up and the subscribe button. We'll be back next week with another money-saving, wealth-building video just for you.